Welcome to the Andy and Friends podcast. I'm your friend Andy, and in this episode of the podcast, I'm talking with the hobbyist miner. He recently left his job to do this whole YouTube thing full time, which is a massive leap. So in this episode, we talk about how that all happened, what he did to prepare for it, why you may or may not want to have more than one income stream in this life. Not just that, but we dig into some of the nitty-gritty about being a YouTuber and some of the challenges that come along with that. It's a great discussion, especially if you've ever thought about doing your own thing on the side, starting your own business, having multiple income streams. This is a great episode for you. And also, I wanted to say a shout out to The Node Factory for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. Let's jump right into it. And here we are on the podcast with the hobbyist miner. Hello.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it, Andy. Always a joy.
Who is now not just a hobbyist miner as a hobby, but a professional hobbyist miner as a profession.
Might as well change the channel name.
You are a newly retired man, in a manner of speaking.
That's right.
What just happened? Tell me.
What just happened? Well, I struck it big in the lottery, and, I'm done with this world at this point. No, great. I mean, we've done a few of these over the years, which has been cool, a lot of fun. So for me, based off when this releases. So I got a call on a Friday morning from my employer, who I've been with for 9 years, that just said, "Hey, we appreciate your 9 years of service, but today's your last day." And so got the can, as they say, as the cool kids say, kicked to the curb. And so that's kind of where we are. Was a little unexpected, but however, I guess it was on good terms because I got a severance package from it, which is nice. Will hold me over for a few months, which is good. So so unemployed maybe is what that is, but a lot of things in the works at this point.
But you are in a unique situation in that if this hadn't happened, you would have made it happen just a few months later.
Yep.
You were planning to leave.
Yes, I was. So nothing wrong. Just my heart wasn't there. My day-to-day, my mind wasn't there. Plus, it wasn't something I enjoyed anymore. So I had planned already to give my notice in May. And in June would have been, like June 20th, actually, would have been my last day. And my goal was to leave the company with no job lined up. Which sounds wild, and some people might be like, "What do you mean? Why would you do such a thing?" But I think we'll probably get into that.
Yes. And when you say no job lined up, you clearly don't fully mean that because this thing we're doing right now is something you also do.
Yes.
Basically, you're doing it full-time. You just worked a full-time job. You would make some family time in there somehow, miraculously. I don't know how you balance things.
Automatically.
You're a magician. And then you would spend all your other time that you had free moments to be productive to do this whole YouTube thing.
Yes.
And when did you start YouTube?
4 years ago.
Okay. And so in the span of 4 years, you've turned it into a very successful channel that makes a good chunk of money that could have been your job.
Yep.
And now it is your job. So I want to talk about that because that's very exciting to me.
Yeah, so I was planning to exit the normal, as Andy calls it, the 9-to-5 grind, because of the fact that my kind of extra gigs, my other income streams were making more money in a quasi part-time capacity. And as you had alluded to, I was working in my full normal salary position. So it wasn't necessarily a 9-to-5 with no salary positions, but I was working that and then finding time with family, like you said, and then squeezing in YouTube anywhere I could on lunch breaks, on evenings, on weekends till 2 a.m, whatever it was, making whatever you want to call this work. And so that was my plan, was to step away. My wife and I had chatted about a year ago, and then we chatted again in November, and it was like, hey, we're in a financial spot where we can afford to step away from it because it's too much to juggle. For 4 years to try to be doing 2 jobs, full-time jobs. I mean, that's what YouTube really was just too much. And so it was better to balance that out for sure.
And this is, I know my reasons for doing these things. I want to get into your reasons, but, once upon a time, I was an entrepreneur all my life. Got, basically told I need to go to college and get a, real job or whatever. And I did that stuff and I had real jobs. My last 9-to-5 job was in tech. It was actually an IT software company that I worked for. And then in all my, waking moments outside that, I was building my wedding photography business because I wanted to do my own, business. I then left that job, did that business for over a decade, made a lot of money. It was great, very successful company. But then as I got tired of that, on the side, I did YouTube in my spare, waking moments. And then I quit my normal wedding photography self-employed job to do this full-time. So I've done it multiple times. And it sounds like you've kind of taken the same framework where you were planning to if they hadn't done it, for you ahead of time, but you built this thing on the side. Like why? Like what possesses a person? Like, again, I know my reasons. Like we can talk about that too, but I want to know what your reasons. What possesses a person to spend all their day, doing a job and then come home and basically give themselves another job that's completely optional. You don't need to do it. Why did you do it?
Yeah, I mean, I was still in my day-to-day job making over 6 figures. So it wasn't like, oh my gosh, like I absolutely need the money. But as most of us know in today's world, like, additional income is definitely needed for sure. Especially, I have a family of 5, 3 kids, happily married. And so the big thing there was wanting to be more comfortable. Was my goal. And I also wanted to get away from the day-to-day stress of just like a full-time career as an executive at a company. And so in that role, a lot of stress with that was controlling my day-to-day and didn't realize how much stress it actually gave me until literally stepping away from that day one, like 3 hours after, getting terminated. And it was just like, like a huge sigh of relief to be like, okay, I now fully control every aspect of my life, like as much as I can. And that was a huge one there. So, not only that, but also being able to now lean into something that I was passionate about, but also take this pet project and seeing where I got it now, where it was only occupying a part of my mind or part of my day, and being able to expand on that to be like, wow, how much can I do when I'm living and breathing it all the time?
That's okay. That's very, very interesting because even me building a job that I did love for a long time, my own business, me and my wife did our wedding photography business together, very successful, made lots of money, had great clients, all this stuff. Like the last job we did, the last wedding we shot, like as soon as it was over, it was like, it just, you could feel the stress drip off of you. Because even if you do love something, you do it long enough or you start doing it for the wrong reasons or your interest change or whatever, and it just becomes something you have to do because you're already in it. It's amazing, like that first feeling of, I guess, freedom or whatever. So I talk a lot about, especially on Twitter, like I love the idea of building something on the side, building a business, or at least having multiple options. And I've said things like, only having a single stream of income is very risky. And some people just get really upset about this idea for some reason. 9-to-5 jobs are not risky at all. And this may be a little bit true. But what do you think about that when I say, only one stream of income is risky, and clearly, maybe that was not, good thing you didn't have just one stream of income.
Correct. I mean, I very much have always looked at other opportunities to make a buck. It was always like, hey, how do I make a little extra money here and there, which is always great. And so that was always my mindset leading up to things. But over the last 4 years, I stepped into the YouTube space for 2 reasons. One, for crypto, because I saw the writing on the wall and was like, I want to be involved with that. There's some money to be made in that. But also because of the fact that I was like, oh, YouTube's a great avenue to go. I've heard all these great things about it, never realizing how much work it actually is.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, when we talk about a single source of income, it's like, imagine my situation on that Friday. If it was like, this was my single source of income and I had nothing else. And then it was like, okay, you're no longer with the company. A lot of panic, concern, stress, none of that. None of that was there, which was a nice thing. And it was like, even my parents, when I spoke with them later that day, was like, hey, here's what's going on. And they're like, well, you're lucky you have all these other income streams available to you. And they knew I was planning to walk away from the company in June anyway. So it was just like, oh, okay. So I have 6 income streams. Now I'm down to 5. Okay, great. So I think that's one thing where it's like, especially when you have a family, where it's like you want to make sure that you have additional avenues available to you. And if you don't have any, it's finding them and finding creative ways to do it. And so I'm a huge proponent of having as many income streams as you can, because, one could fail, one could go under, or you could lose a job. And, you need to, even if I had half of what I had right now, it would still help out with that panic that a normal person would have losing a job.
Why don't more people do that? Why do most people get comfortable with just the single income? Is it because they're comfortable? Like why?
I think it really comes down to motivation. A lot of people I talk to are like, and definitely within my circles of friends that I grew up with are like, I just want to work my job and come home and sit on the couch and cut my grass and watch TV and drink a beer and go to bed. And it's like, okay, great. But what happens when that job all of a sudden is gone? You never know. And so I think the challenge is like people very much look at, I go to work and I come home, and they look at it as two separate things entirely. And it's like, I get it 100%, but it's risky, and 100% is risky. You are very much my situation. I was the company for 9 years and didn't even get an explanation as to what was going on. Later found out downsizing type of situation, saving money. But, you know, you are just another number. When it's not your own company, when you're not invested like that, anybody can be replaced 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. This happened before you were going to do it anyway, but you're going to do it. So I'm assuming, and let's talk through this, that if you're planning to do this thing, leave your job and do this whole YouTube thing full time, there is some preparation happening.
Oh, there is. There is.
So what were the things that you were doing before you were ever ready to say, hey, boss, see you later? What were those main things? And I want to go through these because I think these will probably be really helpful for other people who maybe are thinking about leaving or just want some extra like buffer, security, whatever.
No, it's great idea. I mean, I am very much a list organizational. Anybody who knows me knows that for sure. And so for me, I just kind of sat down with my wife and put together a list of like, here's everything I need to do. So even though I started this idea of like, we're going to take this step in November, I literally looked at between November and June 20th, which was going to be my last day, and was like, these are the things that I need to do. And so one of them was like, okay, like, you know, financially review everything to make sure we could afford this, you know? And in my situation, my other income streams were making double of what that one income stream was. So it's like, okay, financially, this makes sense. And it was like, okay, is there any debt that we want to get rid of before we make this move? Yes. Okay, great. Let's make sure we do that. So that was on my list of things to do during that time of anything that would have occurred. Outside of that, the big one as well was insurance. You know, that's a huge one. I mean, looking at being self-insured when you have a family. Some people elect not to, and they're just like, hey, I'm healthy, I'm going to pay out of pocket as I need to, versus like, hey, I got a family of 5. You know, some of them are in the doctors more often than others, especially people that have kids understand that. And so it was like, okay, so I did my research online on my own, met with one insurance broker, met with a second insurance broker, and then the second insurance broker was like, okay, I'm liking this, what we're going to see. Had them in my pocket, was like, let's reconnect in May when I give my notice to kind of get things ready to go. That was in there as well. My wife and I even looked at expenses to be like, hey, where can we trim up expenses? Just as like a self-check. Like, hey, let's take a look at it. So I went back 6 months and looked at everything to be like, okay, what does an actual average month look like versus like a budgeted month? My wife and I do a budget every 2 weeks with each other. You know, we're just very in the weeds on it, but it's worked out. We've been married for 17 years. It works for us. Doesn't work for everybody. We're also one of those families that is a cash budget family. I do everything cash. So it's like, that doesn't work for everybody. But for me, it does. Like, I don't own a credit card. And some people, oh my, what? The points. Not my world. Cash. So that's the world that I operate in. So a lot of that was planning to do, you know, in preparation for all this.
Yeah. So the hobbyist miner / Dave Ramsey's star pupil.
Sure. Something like that.
What about emergency fund or like savings?
Yes. So for us, it was very much looking at like, where do we want to be financially to make sure that like, okay, by the time we hit June, now it was a little surprising, a little sooner, like how much do we want to have liquidated in cash easily available versus like how much did we want to leave in investments or do we want to move anything around? So we had already planned to shift more into cash just in case we needed it, you know, as things come up for sure.
How many months of expenses was like a comfortable place for you?
6 months.
6 months?
6 months is where we were at. And that makes it real comfortable. So then it's like, okay, great. Like I'm not stopping working on that day I get terminated from there. It's like, oh, like I literally, that was on a Friday and Saturday, Sunday came by and Monday I was already hitting the ground. Like, all right, new routine, new lifestyle, everything like that, which has been nice.
I think and I know it's like, and in many ways, I'm very much, neither of us really, in many ways are not traditionalist when it comes to personal finance because, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but for me, the majority of my money is not in just an S&P index fund. You know, it's in the world of crypto and stuff. And I've handled my finances differently than all the traditional finance experts would advise me to.
Sure.
However, there's something to be said about having a stack of cash in a savings account as an emergency fund to know that if shit hits the fan, if all these wonderful income streams we've been, you know, we're talking about and we're celebrating and we've been building for, you know, for years, dry up, you still have something there to fall back on. And I feel like, even though, you know, it's like boring to say, you know, get an emergency fund if you're listening to this and you're like, I'm stressed about losing my job. It's like, it's the most accessible. You don't have to worry about, you don't have to build a business right away. You don't have to build like 6 income streams right away. You just need to focus on how many months do you want? Stack it in a savings account. And once you do that, you can breathe a little bit easier.
I hear people a lot, which are like, oh, I can't put aside that type of cash because of where I'm at, where I'm making versus what my bills are and expenses are. And that's exactly where I tell people. And just like we're talking about, it's like, okay, what other income streams can you have? You know, it's like, yeah, you really can. Even an hour every day extra to do something, whatever it may be. Look at your skill sets. Look at opportunities out there. It might be like, oh, I'm going to get an extra part-time job that's only an hour a day. Who knows? Maybe it's online. It's like, maybe you just take those funds and those paychecks go right into a fund that you just keep working on. It's like, that's where I talk with a lot of people that are like, either want it all of the time or I can't financially afford to put additional funds aside. It's like, okay, what are you doing to go above and beyond then?
I realize life is stressful, and I realize there's lots of things in life you can't control, and I realize that, you know, sometimes you get put in situations you don't have full control over and things like this. There's extenuating circumstances for everybody's life, and everybody's different. However, if you're in a place where you can't save an emergency fund because you don't make enough, if you really truly have cut down your expenses and there's just not anything left over, if you're not going to spend some of your other hours you would spend on leisure or just watching TV or whatever, making more money. The reason you're not doing it is just because you just don't want to. And the reality is there's like a million ways you can do that. Like for me, I was like, I started by just selling everything I didn't need in my house, like on eBay or whatever. And I made extra money
I still do that on Facebook Marketplace. That's just like something I do. Literally, it's funny. So I'm a crazy person. Just gonna put it out there. I have a checklist of everything I want to do every day. I review it when I get up, when I plan out my day. One of those things is list something on Facebook Marketplace. I just constantly decluttering because I constantly see how much stuff I have, especially in mining. Oh my gosh. Like, holy cow. But yeah, it's just it's like, oh, do I need the money? No. But that's just extra few bucks here and there. And it's like, if I sell 1 or 2 things a week, awesome, fantastic. And some people are like, well, why? Isn't that a waste of time? Nope. Not at all. It takes me like 10 minutes to take some pictures and put a listing up.
Do you have a threshold? It has to be, I have to sell it for more than this amount before I'll do it. Like a $5 item I won't sell, but a $25 item I will.
Yeah, I would say about $50. $50 is usually that threshold for sure, yeah.
That's also mine. I feel like if I can sell it for 50 or more, it was worth the 10, 15, 20 minutes. If it's 100%. Less than that, then Goodwill gets it.
100%.
Declutter my life. Okay, so okay, let's talk about maybe the building passive, not necessarily passive, but just other income stream stuff. Like, what was your first exposure to the idea of like, you know, I can have multiple income streams. Some of them can be passive. You know, what was your first exposure to that? What made you excited or kind of lit a fire under you to start building that?
Yeah, great. I totally remember when it was. So working the job, you know, not job that I spoke of, and started the YouTube. And at that point, I was actually between homes. We were moving. The one home we sold, and then our other one actually got delayed for us to move into. So we actually moved in with my mother-in-law and lived in her finished basement. Yes, with 3 kids. Yes, or 2 kids, I guess, at that point. And so I spent a lot of time on YouTube. And that's when I really came into crypto more and more. And like I knew I wanted to get into it and stuff. Anyways, jump ahead into that. I started YouTube, my channel, on crypto mining, just filming with an iPhone 6 SE, and like, I don't know anything about crypto, but I'm going to bring you along with it. And that was an opportunity where I grew very quickly. This is not normal with YouTube, don't expect it, but within 3 months, I grew to 5,000 subscribers, which is a lot for like just starting.
It took me 6 months to hit 1,000.
And I remember my first Google AdSense, which you can't earn anything until you hit 1,000 subscribers. And I remember my first payout was $500.
Wow.
And at that time, there was a lot of views in crypto. This was last bull run. And I remember getting that and going like, holy shit, like this is awesome. Now this isn't normal. Like the stars aligned, you know, it was like all perfect timing, lots of interest, but I was like, there's something here. And that's really when it was a great example of like, okay, I put in the work and the time and wow, look, $500. So that's kind of what really kicked me into gear to go, ooh, additional income stream. This is very cool.
That would have kicked me into gear as well. I think my first payout wasn't a full day. It was like a partial day, but my first day of getting paid out on my current YouTube channel, I had one before that, but on this one, it was like 76 cents or something like that, or like $4, maybe $4, something, I don't know, something small like that. But you can work a 9-to-5 job. You can work 8 hours a day. You can earn, you know, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 a month or something, make good money and do whatever. But just making a couple of dollars via that pays you automatically like that for some videos, it just hits different. And that's the same with like crypto passive, you know, payments. Sometimes, you know, things like flipping things, some of that like external money, even if it's not substantial, it just hits different. Why is that?
It reminds me of, so I had a few years ago, I had Carter Bitsby Trippin on my channel for an interview, and we were talking about like mining and getting to it. And he reminded me of that feeling that the first time I was crypto mining and I got this magic money that I made deposited into my wallet. And it was that same feeling of, and it was like a few dollars, you know, but he reminded me, it's like, that's what hooks people. It's like all of a sudden, and it was only a few bucks. And I was like, holy cow, like this is all, and that's what followed too. So at the same time as like, okay, a $500 payout from YouTube on this is amazing. And then, oh, wait, this magic money is getting deposited into my crypto wallet. I was like, okay, now we're at 3 income streams already. And it was like just 3 months into like this new lifestyle.
Yeah. So what are so, you know, everyone, when they think about YouTube, they think about, I'm going to make the ad revenue and get the payout stuff. And like, that's the thing. Usually, and you can tell me if yours is different, usually that's the smallest source of income. Yes. But what are like just the buckets of like, what are some of the things that multiple, because YouTube is its own income stream, but it's like a bunch of different ones all built together. Yeah,
once you start to get into YouTube and you start to look at your channel and you look outside of just videos and like just that. So like I had my 9-to-5 then, that's no longer there as of 3 weeks ago. We then had YouTube. Which was Google AdSense. For those that don't understand, Google puts ads on your videos and you get a portion of that. You get paid based off viewerships and everything like that. Not really based off subs, just viewership in that regard. But that's a smaller amount. I would say on my best month, it was probably $7,000. But that came down to views, and that was like last bull run. That's no longer the case as to where we are now. I average between $3,000 to $5,000 a month on there. I would say then, aside from that, it would be affiliate commission. So as you start to get products in from companies, I want to work with you, you know, oh, take this miner and, you know, do a video on it, whatever. So that would be an agreement that we came to. Oh, no, that's more contracted. We'll get to that one next one. The affiliate commission would be more of, you get a % of every sale with our company type of deal. And that's been very lucrative. One of my, pretty much my top is where that's at. The next one there would be contracted content. So we want to work with you. We'll pay you to do a video. And sometimes that's paired with a product that has affiliate commission as well. So that's more of a flat fee right for that. That is in there as well. So we had the day-to-day job, we had YouTube, we had affiliate commission, we had contracted content, then one-on-one consulting, which is something I picked up about a year ago, as people were really coming to me via email and social media looking for guidance, questions and such. And I now set myself up every day for about an hour a day to do consulting. And I talk with people from all over the world, Dominican Republic, Congo, Ireland, I mean, you name it. People are reaching out to really just ask, how do I get into mining, or what do I buy? And then finally, merch store. Very small, just started that up not too long ago. So that's been another income stream as well along the way. And I don't think I'm missing any. So that's kind of where we are today.
And that's YouTube. And then on top of that, there's all the litany of crypto income sources.
Oh yeah, and there's the last one. Yes, crypto mining. Thank you. So all of that, regardless of if you're thinking this for yourself, maybe not in crypto, maybe in another niche or industry, but then crypto itself then has created a massive opportunity for me from an income stream as well. So pretty much crypto mining, I would say, is the highest, then affiliate commission, contracted content, YouTube, Google AdSense, or no, consulting, YouTube, Google AdSense, and then merch.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, for me, crypto, I've got like 30 different sources of crypto passive income.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's intimidating to hear that. It's intimidating to hear most of this if all you currently do is just a normal job, especially if it's hourly. It's not even salary, but if it's salary, and just thinking about like the time it takes and how do I go from 1 to 40 sources of income? It's like you don't, right? Like you need to just do the one and then add one on top of it, and then get good at that one and then add one on top of it. I mean, what else would you say to somebody who likes this idea? But immediately it's like deer in the headlights when they hear you say that. How do they like start?
No, I think you really hit the nail on the head there, where it was like you kind of grow into those. Those were not all there for quite a while. I mean, especially with YouTube, like YouTube was there, which was great, but like affiliate commission wasn't really a thing when I started out. That didn't come for a year or two later, or contracted content as the channel grew, or the consulting, like I talked about. Like someone's not going to hit you up for consulting with just, year one of being on YouTube talking about, XYZ. But yeah, it is very much about baby steps. And even now, for me, I'm like, okay, what other avenues can I do? And what other areas can I expand upon in my current role? So it's just baby steps. Just, okay, 6 months in, I want to start doing this. And I want to start doing this. And yeah, don't rush into it, one at a time. Absolutely.
And what would you say to somebody who, okay, so we kind of covered if you want to do this and you're deer in the headlights, what if you're still like, you just don't feel it inside you to like, you just, for whatever reason, you're just like, who cares? Like, is there anything you can say to that person? Does that person just have to like have life hit them a little bit hard, and then they have to go, okay, I get a wake up call. Maybe I should have multiple streams of income. Like what?
I would say it comes down to two things, either a wake up call or self-motivation. Nothing else will motivate you. And I'm a very self-motivated individual. I find crazy thing, my leisure time is working. Like, you're like, wait, what? It's like, yeah, my wife will tell you I'm either working, and if I sit on the couch, I fall asleep because I just a lot of work that I do there. Now, this new opportunity of not having my normal day-to-day job now gives me the ability to be more flexible, spend more time with my family, which was a goal that I had, volunteering more, just enjoying life more, in that regard. And so I think it comes down to motivation, and I knew it was going to be there. Like I was motivated to break that 9 to 5 and get into a lifestyle that I could enjoy, but that also spend more time with my family and such.
So you've been doing YouTube for 4 years. So for 4 years, you've done the normal 9 to 5 job, and on top of that, you've worked a second, basically full-time job, which means 4 years are gone. Goodbye, 4 years.
Bye-bye.
And that extra time that was spent solely on YouTube could have been spent with the family or whatever. How do you? So like, there's two sides to this, right? There's, you have to have balance, and like life's short, so don't do that. Only have leisure time all the time. Live it up while you're young. The other side is workaholic. You only work all the time forever. So how do you balance those? Is it okay to do it for a little while and then stop doing it? And like, how do you? Because obviously you got ahead. You make way more money because you did these things, but you had to sacrifice. Do you continue doing that? Do you now take a break? Like, walk me through this?
No, it's definitely a good thing to bring up, because for me, it was, when I stepped into it, it was more of a hobby, hence hobbyist minor. And it was like, I really don't know where this is going to take me. After I got like the first payout to be like, ooh, there's money here. At first it was just like, hey, I'm going to record this. We'll see where it goes. Because you got to remember, like, everyone who makes a YouTube channel isn't significantly successful. Like, it's not instantly. It's a very small percentage for sure. I think somewhere about like, there's only 1% of creators that actually hit 100,000 subscribers.
Sounds right.
Something about that. So it's like wild to really think about that. And so for me, the motivation was, okay, I want to put the extra time in now so that I can enjoy later. And that was my goal, 100%. And there wasn't like, I'm going to put 4 years into this. It was continuing to be able to see growth. And it was like, okay, like it was almost like you could see the light at the end of the tunnel as that started to grow. I mean, big 5,000 subscribers was big to me. 30,000 was massive. And then 100. And now, I mean, I feel like I hit 100 not too long ago, and we're from 100 to 135. It's just gone so quickly.
You're passing me up now.
Yes. But yes, Andy and I are very much competitive about a lot of things. But yeah, so I think it really comes down to just having a vision of like, okay, you're right. Like this isn't a forever thing. It's very much like my goal is to do it now so I can enjoy it later. Yeah. And that's just with my kids, with my family, with my wife and my life and everything.
Yeah. But also your kids, you started this when they've all been fairly young and they're still all at home and they're still relatively young. So now you have more time there. But also I feel like you've been pretty good about, at least for as long as we've known each other and we've been talking, that, especially weekends and things, you really set even though you go, like, for those who didn't know hobbyists during the time when he had these two jobs, like we'd talk about things like, hey, can we schedule this video? And he'd be like, okay, I'm gonna move this thing here. I got this 15-minute block here. Okay, if I put these together, like life was calendarized out. But that was also good because he would, block out times for certain things. But also I feel like you would block off in like entire days on weekends and stuff. That's just family time. You wouldn't do a single thing. So you go real hard at certain other times and then you take a break and see family and whatever. Is that how you handle it? Like,
yeah, I would say definitely about a year ago, I made the decision of like Sundays I will do nothing, like nothing related to crypto or mining or content. And I wish I would have done it sooner because for me, it was like every spare moment type of deal. And so I'd work during the week. Now I did work from home. I'd work during the week and then like, Saturdays for us, it was run, different kids events. Everyone else can relate to this, sporting events. But like even during the week, sporting events, I've taken my kids to, bringing my laptop, responding to emails, prepping a video, planning ahead, so I was still there, but I wasn't there. And so it was good to be like, okay, Sunday is like truly my day of rest. And it was like, I just need to disengage and have a focus there, which is nice. So now my goal is, and I'm still figuring out my schedule, is to very much 8 to 5 is crypto, additional income streams, meetings, recordings, all of that. And then after that is family time. So I'm trying my best to get there. It's definitely for me now, it's like a reverse. It's like really hard to pull back from like, oh, I have 10 minutes. Maybe I should be doing this or doing that. It's like, no, pull it back. Because this is what I worked for, right? This is what I wanted.
Yeah. And it's easy if you're listening to this, it's easy as an outsider perspective to listen to like these decisions you've made and go, huge mistake. Gave up, family time or this or that. And maybe some of it was, but I think the thing that stands out to me is the ability to constantly assess and be self-critical and go, okay, I work, working super hard. Maybe I should have days on the weekends or this or that. Maybe I should make this transition in my career, in my life, and have more balance. It's like nobody's perfect. Everyone messes everything up all of the time. We're all just trying to like do the best we can in life. And I think the measure of success isn't that you did it perfectly or whatever. It's that as you do what you're doing, you're going on this little journey, in life, you're constantly reassessing and go, how could I have done that better? How can I do this better in the future? And I mean, do you think about it like that? Or do you like, how do you assess?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always like retuning, and kind of looking at like, okay, how can I change that? How can we do that? I mean, it's, very much, I mean, I made sacrifices over the last few years, but now, my wife pointed out to me the other day, she's like, now you can truly work from anywhere, or you can take a vacation when you want to, or you can be like, oh, like when the day I got terminated, it was 9:30 in the morning on a Friday, and my wife and kids, they're homeschooled. My wife was a teacher in the past, and they're homeschooled, and they were going to like a place locally that does a lot of like kid science-y type of stuff, hands-on type of stuff. And in that moment, I was like, I have two choices. I could sit here and dwell on just losing my job and like, oh my gosh, stress over what's next in finances. Or I could be like, this is what I worked for. I can step away for 3 hours, go enjoy that, have lunch with them. And it's like, that's what I was working towards. Just being able to decide on your own. Because in the past, I'd be like, oh, well, I could do that, but I got to be back for this meeting, or I got to get this done before the end of the day. So I can't fit that in. So that, it was all sacrifice like you had talked about. However, well worth it now in the end.
Yeah. And I think that is the crux of why again, let me be very clear. I'm clear on Twitter. I'm clear when I do videos about this. I'm not anti 9 to 5, but majority of the time, your jobs don't care about you the way you care about that money coming in. Case in point, that if they feel the need to, they will let you go, and that's just the reality of it. Your boss doesn't think about you constantly and how they can better you. They're thinking about themselves just like everybody else. It's transactional mostly. There's exceptions, of course. But there's also that, you're giving all this time to something that doesn't give you time back. And why I love entrepreneurship and I love doing my own thing, have my own business, is because I'm effectively buying all my time back. It takes sacrifice. It takes, doing things that other people aren't willing to do. It takes investing and doing all this other stuff to be able to come to Mining Disrupt and, on this week and not ask anyone's permission other than our wives.
Of course. Yeah, that's right. 100%.
And, on a Friday, I don't need to work today. That video can wait. My kids are more important. Like, time is finite, and we're both over 40, but we're still relatively young in terms of the overall scheme of things. And so, why wouldn't we want to work super hard, to get to this stage where you can have complete time freedom as soon as possible, so you can then enjoy it with the people you want to enjoy it with.
Yeah, it's a really good comment, because I looked at it from this perspective of okay, I'm halfway through life, let's say 80 is whatever it is, not whatever it is, but it's wow, to be able to be now I'm taking that massive pivot, going against the grain, to be now's a great time to do this. Imagine for the next 40 years, this is life. It's just crazy to think about, for sure.
Yeah. And, if you love your job, if you have a 9-to-5 job and you absolutely love it and it's fulfilling and all that, great, keep doing it. But just make sure you can, you're happy with the amount of time you can take away from it. And you don't feel like it's a big burden to ask for time, to have the freedoms you want. And also, even if it's wonderful, even if it's your passion thing, even if they pay you great and they love you and you are actually part of a family, if that's ever actually true in a job, just make sure you are using that job to help yourself out in life, so you make sure you're okay, instead of being used by that job, which is most often the case, which is usually saving money, investing, building something on the side just in case or whatever, so you can have that freedom, right? Okay, so that's a lot of things, and I love all those things. And share your thoughts down in the comments if you feel the same way, or if we're way off base here, which happy to have a conversation about that. Okay, let's shift gears, because we talked about YouTube, we talked about the different income streams. One of those income streams, well, I'll talk about several of them, but one of them is affiliates.
Okay, and
affiliates is such a funny one. It has very visceral reactions with different people. And let me just ask the question. Let's talk about it.
Sure.
Is making affiliate money, is getting a kickback for selling someone else's thing to somebody who's on your channel, whatever, is that wrong?
No.
Why not?
Why not? So in my channel, specifically with YouTube, I focus more on crypto mining than just crypto. And so there's always a new miner coming out, and there's always that avenue of hey, here's this miner, and here's what it does, here's what it makes, here's how it works, here's how to set it up. And I love doing those. I love doing that content. The value of that is very much is it wrong? Interesting. So I guess I'm going to flip that in my mind, and I go, why would it be wrong? What makes it wrong in that regard? You've partnered with a company, you're showing off a new product that they came out with, and they're using your platform to get directly, and when I speak with these companies in a marketing capacity, direct to consumer. You're getting right in front of your audience that traditional marketing would not give them. And so being able to get a portion of that, whether it's 1% to up to 10%, which is usually the extreme on something, is fantastic from our side of the world, because we put the time in, the energy in, and then that product, that video continues to make you money as it's newly discovered. So I think it's hard for me to answer, is it wrong? Because it's that's part of my income stream. That's part of how I'm making money in that regard. I guess I would flip it to be, well, why is it wrong?
Yeah, it's hard to be completely unbiased here, because we both, get, affiliate commissions and stuff. And it's a very interesting question, because lots of people are, you're just a shameless shill. You're pushing this thing. You make money on every whatever. And I'm like, well, why shouldn't I? If I put in the work and the time and whatever to pitch this thing, and if you decide after you think about it and you do your own research, whatever that process looks like, you go, I want this thing. Shouldn't I be rewarded as the person who put it in front of you, who introduced it to you, and you're like, hey, I'm glad you told me about this thing. and I did work for the company, shouldn't the company pay me something? It didn't cost you anything as the viewer or the person purchasing.
Yep.
It cost the company something to pay me for doing that work for them. And I think that's fair in my mind. But also, it's like, people who think that, one, I think there's lots of people who think it's altruistic to talk about these products and stuff and receive nothing. I'm like, so you want to benefit these companies who make immense amounts of money, but you want no compensation for your time. That doesn't make any sense to me. But two, is advertising bad? Like, wouldn't you not know about 90% of the things in your life if it weren't for advertising?
That's what came to mind. I was slowly starting to think about, like, you look at your day to day, marketing and advertising is everywhere. Like, and so that's the world that we're in, unfortunately. And with social media and online presence, it's grown even more and more. And so in that situation, I mean, I think where I hear the word thrown around the most is, oh, you're shilling that product. And it's like, okay, I like the product. I use the product. I have partnered with a company. I've vetted it the best I can in my capacity. And so, I'm going to highly recommend it. Like, why not? And I think that becomes a challenge. I think the most on YouTube is where I hear that verbiage the most.
Yeah. And a couple of things there. One, like shill, like it's like a scam, these words that people, I don't think actually even know what the meaning is behind. They use them so frequently and frivolously. Shill, to me, my definition, people can comment what your definition is. Shilling is when you promote something that you don't actually care about, and you're only doing it because you're going to get paid or for some other monetary gain. And when I talk about something, and again, you cannot believe me, you can come to your own conclusions. I only want to talk about stuff I actually have interest in, and almost all the time, something I've actually put my own money into. And I ask, like, who would you rather hear about this stuff from? Someone who you like watching and listening to, and you are a fan of, and if you're not, unsubscribe, go find somebody else, or from some nameless conglomerate on the TV, shouting loud noises at you or something. I feel like it's a, if the person actually likes the thing, if they actually use it, they put their money into it, if they're presenting it in the best way that they can, because we're all imperfect people, isn't that a better delivery mechanism to learn about new things than the alternative?
I think that terminology, especially like affiliate commission to me, is something that you eventually, with content creation or whatever platform you end up growing on, is something you grow into. Because traditionally, you don't instantly become an affiliate or a referral. Companies are reaching out to you into that regard, which is one of them. But I feel like I traditionally find people using that terminology when a content or a post or something like that is not relatable to them. So, okay, in my situation, I'm going to do a video on this miner. It's $10,000. Well, someone can't afford that. So they instantly become negative towards that video, towards that product, and then towards you to be like, why are you shilling that? Versus I find on the flip side, someone who's like, oh, this is awesome. Thanks for the discount code. Do appreciate it. And as you said, there's no additional markup for that. So now you've educated them on something that they didn't realize they wanted or needed. And now they're like, oh, I would like to go ahead and purchase that. And so I think that's where I see that the most. I always feel the need to be like, hey, if this channel isn't for you, I'm not forcing you to watch. You don't need to subscribe. Like, I've even run into situations where I don't traditionally respond to people that are commenting like that. But one person I responded to the one time, I said, there are a boatload of amazing other content creators out there. I hope you find one that you enjoy. And it's like, because what I found is when people are so negative, it's always great to just respond with like positive, feedback towards them. And they don't respond back. Like, they're like, oh my gosh, okay, this guy's recommending that I find another source for content consumption. So
yeah, a lot. Okay, several points that I want to reply to that. First off, yes, this is our job. Yes, we get paid to make these videos in various capacities, and it's not always that we're getting paid to make the video, but we do, like through YouTube ads or whatever. There's some incentive to monetarily to make the videos, but when we're making videos that have actual valuable things in it that at least we think is valuable, especially when it's not related to products, whatever, it's just about the markets or our experience or whatever, we make those effectively for free for you. Like as a viewer, like we don't charge money. You can just watch it or not watch it. Like it's just an all you can eat menu buffet on YouTube of whatever content, my content, your content, other people's videos. So like, well, beggars can't be choosers. Like, take a chill pill, like just don't watch my free video. You can, choose to watch or not. But at least, and you tell me if you feel the same way, but I treat my channel like I'm presenting a menu effectively. So like a lot of these people think that, every time we make a video, especially if it's sponsored or has an affiliate link or something associated with it, a product, they think the purpose of the video is to sell them on the thing. And let me just, you can take me at face value if you want, but legitimately, I do not care if you do or do not. I mean, obviously, if no one bought, then it'd suck because I wouldn't make any money. So hopefully, I'm presenting things that you care about and you want to buy at some point. But I really don't care. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm not trying to sell you on this thing. What I am trying to do is find a collection of things that I legitimately am interested in, find fascinating, maybe good opportunities or unique or whatever, and then I present them in different videos. And you can watch one and go, not for me. You can watch the next one, not for me. Watch the third one and go, this one seems cool. And that's great. Goal has been achieved on my part. I presented a handful of things that I find interesting, and then you decide for yourself which one you find interesting as well. And that's the beauty of like making your own decisions and doing research and having like a buffet of videos on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I think it's a great way to put it, like looking at it from the buffet perspective. Like, when you click on that thumbnail, you're not forced to click on it. And you're taking a look at it because you're interested in one way or another. And when you're presented then with the video, if you don't like it, well, you can exit that buffet and go to the next one. So yeah, I think it's a great way to put it for sure.
And then one more thing I wanted to discuss here, and I don't want to belabor this to death, but I do want to talk about one more aspect, which is, you especially, because you are the hobbyist miner, a mining channel. I do also cover miners, but not as deep in stuff, a lot of other things, nodes, various things. But there's been, there's some criticism I received in comments or wherever about like, some of these machines, these products themselves, they're scams, they're nefarious, they're just out there to sell a diddly do, and it does this thing, and then 2 months later, it's not ethical for us to even talk about these things. What is your response to that?
Yeah, very much. I get a lot of either one that won't RI for 50 years. Or two is very much the why waste your money on something like that type of deal. And I think, the biggest one when I look at that overall and people's mindsets on that is I find very much I'm kind of educating. And that's kind of look at it like, hey, I'm going to educate you on this product. Here's what it is. Here's what it does. Here's some of the benefits of it. Here's the performance. Here's the watts, all that types of stuff. And you're an adult, make a decision based off of that. And I think the challenge is that, and one thing I find too, is that because this industry is so small, I get everybody who is like a individual interested in mining up to mining farm operators and owners. And so all walks of life. So when I present something that's a $10,000 miner and a home miner sees it and is like, that's a scam, as I go back to it, it's negative because they can't afford it. And so the challenge is like, man, I talk to all different walks of life. And so it is a challenge of like knowing your audience because the demographic is all over the place. So it is tough.
Yeah. And it's also, a lot of criticism also comes from having 2020, hindsight vision.
Yes.
And it's really easy and convenient to ignore all the winners and just focus on losers. And the harsh reality of crypto is that there's a lot of fucking losers. Like it's as close to gambling as you can get without actually being gambling, outside of things like buying Bitcoin, unless maybe you believe that's also gambling. But in all the other coins and tokens game, it's tough. It's nearly impossible to know which is going to be successful, which is not going to be successful, which has a truly like heartfelt, legitimate team behind it. They're passionate. They really believe in the things that they're trying to build, and which ones are just out to make a quick buck and have a little mini ASIC launch or whatever. And my opinion is that any of them could do well. Even the nefarious ones could still pump in a bull run, and people could make unbelievable amounts of money.
Yeah.
And so I constantly, and you do too, preach like diversification. So if you're really, a little bit skeptical of ASICs, well then get some GPUs or get some DPIN or get some nodes or do some staking. Like hedge your bets across the board. Don't go all in one space. But to dismiss and one type of product, DPIN things are all fake vaporware or ASICs or mini ASICs or nodes or whatever. I feel like is just like it's very artificial, untrue. It's disingenuous, and you're kind of missing the forest for the trees a little bit.
Yeah.
And there's opportunity everywhere.
Yeah, I think it's weird because people, when they look at traditional investing and like, I'm going to invest in this stock, right? They forget they're just taking a gamble.
Yes,
100%. So
now, all investing is risky. Even the most boring of all investing still has risk.
When you look at that in the crypto world, investing in crypto, same thing. But then when you get to investing in crypto miners, same thing. The challenge is that people look at something and they're like, okay, that miner makes $20 a day. I love it. That YouTuber recommended it. They gave me all the info. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and buy one. And then 6 months later, you've taken a gamble. 6 months later, that miner is making $1 a day or 30 cents a day. And now all of a sudden it becomes the YouTuber's fault that that person bought that. And that what was happening 6 months ago is now different than that time period. This is traditional investing. You're taking a risk and a gamble. We don't know what's going to happen. We see this a lot in crypto mining where new miners come out, network hash rate goes up or a coin's price goes down, and all of a sudden it doesn't look as good. And so I think what's happened is like, we see that a lot, but it's investing. Overall, it's just a different style of investing. And I think people look at crypto mining as a get-rich-quick opportunity because they hear about it. Oh, that person bought that and it was fractions of a penny and now it's worth $100 and now they're a millionaire. That's like 1 in a bazillion here, folks. Like that's not
can happen. It's just not very likely to happen.
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
Well, and what you just said, it's like, people who would scoff at crypto and they say, no, I'm going to stick to the stock market. And in fact, I'm going to stick to Tesla. Yep. And then Tesla's lost like 30 or 40% of its value over the past month or two. Yep. It's like, is that a bad, is that a scam? Is that
It's only a bad investment when it's not doing well.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the important thing too. And also, just zooming out, like, most people who look at these things this way do it through a very short-term lens. And in crypto, especially Bitcoin, for every 30% drop, it's gone up, 300% in the good times. And you really have to zoom out and get a bigger picture. And that is like diversify, take, multiple bets. When your winners run, take profits, all this normal type of stuff. Yep. Yeah. So I thought that was, I was really curious. Now you've made this transition to you're doing this all full time. I really wanted to kind of jump into that. So here at the tail end of this,
rabbit holes is all Andy goes down.
I like them. Here at the tail end of this thing, if someone's watching this and they're like, okay, freedom, I like that. Building some of my own, or at least having multiple income streams. You've now done this. What's the parting advice?
Baby steps. So, as I said, it may be something as simple as I'm going to list one thing on Facebook Marketplace a day. That's another income stream for you. Like, excellent. But take those baby steps. So if you're like, all right, I work so much, I don't have time for this. Do you have 10 minutes? Great. So those 10 minutes watching television, sports, soap operas, whatever it may be, just put it towards, I want to sell one thing a day or whatever it is. And that'll be a baby step. But then once you start to actually earn a few bucks, you're like, oh, I have an extra $50 this week. That's fantastic. Oh, I have an extra $100. Then you can start to move it into something. And based off of your skill set, your walk of life, you might have other skills that you can put to test. You may also be able to take what you do day to day and do it. You're allowed to do it on the side. And find an avenue of like, oh, can I take what I'm doing day to day and can I start my own thing, whatever that may be, big or small? Are you a graphic designer or a video editor during the day or whatever it may be? Can you do that to the side a tiny bit in order to earn a few extra bucks? I think it's just motivation. That's what we talked about. Like, it's going to come down to you being motivated, whether it's from freedom, time, money. It's okay. It's okay to be motivated by money if it's going to end up putting you on a better path later on.
Yeah, I think people talk about money being the root of all evil, or whatever. Money's just a tool. Like, it's totally what you do with it. It's like many other examples in this life, and to be motivated to go out there and get money so that you can buy your time back, so you can have more time, so you can have freedom, so you can travel, go to the places you want, spend time with the people you want. Well, then that was a great use of that tool that you focused on, right? So yeah, I think baby steps is a great bit of advice. And I think also it's just like, it's amazing in this life how much you can get rewarded for like just showing up every day. And if you just put a little bit of time into it every day towards whatever it is, this is not trying to advocate you become a YouTuber. This is just advocating that maybe you do something outside of your normal job to de-risk that job and or to get you on the path towards whatever wealth looks like to you and freedom looks like to you a little sooner, when you're not 70 years old, when you're maybe 40 years old.
Love it.
So that's why I want to have hobbyists on this episode to talk through that. So thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Andy.
And thank you for listening. I will see you in the next episode.